Hi and welcome to my new video. This time it's a top-of-the-line Mudmaster. While you read the basic specs, I'm gonna tell you what it's like to hold this big watch. And that's what it is, it's really a big watch, rugged as it gets. With all these edges, screws, bolts, buckle and strap holder. Button, screw down crown, everything is just big. On the wrist it also looks big, but also very comfortable thanks to these wings on the strap. It's the first mud-resistant analog watch from Casio's G-Shock line. It has almost everything. It has a compass, barometer, altimeter, and also a thermometer. So basically it's a triple sensor watch. Everything but a depth meter. With these LEDs who illuminate the both analog and digital display, reading time is easy and help with these big markers and subdials. This self-charging and self-adjusting watch is equipped with solar tough watch movement from Casio, which is well designed and proved itself over the years. The drawbacks of the watch, other than the size of it, from my perspective, are the screw lock crown, which is very hard to operate in indoor conditions, not mentioning the tough muddy conditions this watch was made for. But hey, only 1% those guys who buy these watches are actually Navy SEALs. Other thing, aesthetically speaking, is this outer dial ring, which looks like it's from a premium Casio edifice model. Doesn't fit the rugged style of the watch. What it's like, what I like about this specific watch is the Casio's eye for details. Not only this one, but other Casios, speaking in general, is the Casio's dedication for perfection. Beveled edges, great looking markers, subdials, and in general it's a good looking watch for all its ruggedness and toughness. Surely one of the best G-Shocks ever made. So please subscribe to my channel for further videos. Next up is the detailed tutorial on each and every function of this watch. Thanks. Moving on with the video, in this, let's call it the second part of the video, I'm gonna run through all the functions of this watch. Now, since it's a very complicated watch and has a lots of functions, which are, the basic operations or the functions are not hard, sorry for the cold, it's not hard to operate, but since this is a solar charged and radio controlled watch, it has a rechargeable battery. There's if you look at the manual or instructions of the watch, there are many pages of talking about the signal receiving and everything else. So at that part I'm gonna leave that to the end, but let's run through all the basic operations of the watch. Now, the basic operations of the watch, or shuffling through those modes or the functions, is done by pressing this button over here and these two buttons over here. Now, on the manuals, Casio calls this D button, B button, C or A button. Now, interesting thing to overcome is the basic operations. Now, the basic operations of this watch are navigated through using this button over here. Now, first click on this or press on this button over here gets us to barometer mode. Second click to thermometer mode, where the temperature readout is obvious. Now, it's a data recall mode and stopwatch mode, countdown timer mode, alarm mode, world time mode, and receive mode. That's the mode for the radio control or the radio tower signal check. Now, once again, when I press the lower left button, we are back at the standard timekeeping mode. So while I was shifting to those functions, if you looked at this subdial over here, you saw it move from these operations. Now let me run through the once again, and you can see this big hand moving as I select a function. Now the compass and the altimeter mode are reserved for these two buttons. By pressing the upper right one, we enter the compass, and the second hand is reserved for north and south, and the subdial, digital subdial, shows us the degrees and the point of the second hand. To get back to timekeeping, press this button here. Now the altimeter mode, as it's inscribed on the watch, is this button over here, and the altitude is gonna show. Now getting back to the timekeeping mode. Now this over here screen is a digital screen, and currently it shows the day. It's a Monday, 23rd of December. Now by pressing this upper right left button, we can shift the data. Now it's the barometer trend and the date. Now pressing it again shows the analog time displayed on the digital display, and it's a PM. Now pressing it again, we get back to the screen we had on the beginning of this video. Configuring home city settings. Now to do that operation, whilst in standard timekeeping mode, pull out this crown, but first you have to unscrew it until you hear like a little click, and there it is. Now push or pull, actually pull the crown out, and the subdial will flash showing the city. Now currently my second hand points to Paris, so that's my time zone. But to shuffle between the time zones, use the crown, rotate it clockwise and anti-clockwise to change your time zone, and you can see the hands will align at the preset time. Now I'm gonna get back to Paris. Other thing to be noticed about is the daylight saving time or standard timekeeping. Now to get to the operation of that, now press the lower left button, and the lower screen will indicate is the daylight saving time on, off, or auto. Now to shuffle between those three, you rotate the crown. So as I said, there's a on, off, or out, auto inscribed. The auto daylight saving time setting will be available only when a city code that supports that time calibration signal is selected as the home city. While auto DST is selected, the DST setting will be changed automatically in accordance with the calibration signal data. Now once I'm gonna go to on, because my country has a daylight saving time, and when we are set with the changes we want to see, push the crown in, hear the click, we are back at the timekeeping mode, and now screw back the crown, and that would be configuration of the home city and the standard timekeeping. There it is. As I said previously, this crown is hard to operate. Setting the time and date manually. Now to do this operation, first you have to unscrew this not so easy to unscrew and screw back crown, but once it's screwed, now pull the crown one click until you hear the beep and the city starts flashing on the subdial. Now press the upper left button and the hour and minute start to flash. Now in this operation, I don't know if camera can catch it, but there's A and P shown up on the dial. Now the P stands for PM and the A starts for AM. Now it's set to PM. To change hour and minute settings, press the left button lower left button, sorry, and change the hour. You can do that by rotating the crown. Now I'm gonna get back to 9 because it's 9 o'clock and I failed to show you the minutes, but I'm gonna do that later. Now to move on, press the lower left button, and now we are changing the year. The year is also changed with rotating the crown, so it's 2019, and everything I do you can hear it click. I don't know if the microphone will get it, but there it is. Now pressing it again, so the lower left button, the day and month start to flash, and again rotating the crown will cause two numbers to change. I'm getting back to 23. Now press the lower left button again, and we are at the hour and minute. Now, as I mentioned before, I forgot to show you how to move the minutes or the minute hand. It's done while this screen over here is flashing. Just rotate the crown and set your time. So it's 31 minutes, I believe, so I'm gonna leave it that, and that's what it is. This is the setting I want to go with. Now to get back to timekeeping mode, you'll press or push this crown in, and the second hand will align at 12 o'clock and it will start from 0. Now I'm gonna push it back in, and you can watch the hands move, and the sound was also heard. Now push back the crown in, push the crown back in, sorry, and screw it back in place. And that's how the time is set manually on this Mudmaster. Using the stopwatch on the Mudmaster is done by, whilst in standard timekeeping mode or the timekeeping mode, press the lower left button until the STW is indicated on the subdial. There it is. Now there's an array of zeros right now, but the first 0 stands for hours, the second stands for minutes, the third row stands for the seconds, and this is 100th of a second. As we can see, the hour and minute hand as well as the second hand indicate the current time. Now to operate the stopwatch, it's pretty easy. To start the operation or start the stopwatch, press this lower right button and the stopwatch is activated. Also the same button to stop it and resume it, and when you stop it, the upper right button is used to reset the stopwatch. Now that's the elapsed time operation. To pause at a split time, press the for start, press the A button, then to split use the C button, and that's the split release, also the upper right button, and to stop press the A button or the lower right button, and then to reset it use the upper right button. And that's how the basic operation of the stopwatch on the Mudmaster works. Now let's get back to the standard timekeeping mode, shuffle between the functions, and the main time is shown on display. Moving on to the countdown timer of the Mudmaster, whilst in standard timekeeping mode, press the lower left button and shuffle between the modes until we get to the timer. Now there it is. Now to activate the timer or set the time, we have to first screw lock, or actually open the screw lock crown, screw it back up, push the crown back, and the minutes start to flash. Now to change the minute setting, rotate the crown until it gets to, well, let's get to the preset value of 10. Now to do next step would be to activate the timer, but first we have to push the crown back in. And now to activate the timer, press the A button or the lower right button, and it starts to count down the time. Now to stop it, also press the lower left button to release it also, and whilst it's stopped, use the lower upper right button to reset it. And that's how the countdown timer works. Now to get back to the standard timekeeping mode, shuffle between the functions. It's the main time. Now screw back the crown, lock it, and that's the countdown timer operation. Next up is the alarm mode. Now to enter the alarm mode or the function, shuffle between the functions in timekeeping mode by pressing the lower left button till we get to the alarm, and there it is. Now the alarm will shuffle itself, but you can shuffle the alarms using these two buttons over here. This watch has 5 alarms and the hourly time signal, or the tone, or the beep. Now shuffling between the alarms is done by using one of these buttons. Let's now adjust the alarm 1, and you saw it, I was on the alarm 1 and the alarm 1 is on. Now pull, first you have to unscrew the crown, but I did it previously, and once you unscrew it, pull it back, pull it out, one click, and it will start to flash. Now to change the minutes, now we are in the minute settings. Rotate the crown up and down. I'm gonna get it back to 12 o'clock to the factory preset. Once we adjusted the minutes, push the lower left button and the hour will start to flash, as well as the A. The A starts for A or PM if you are using that time frame. Rotate the crown again to set the hour. I'm gonna leave it at 12, and that would be it. Now when you've set your time, push the crown back in and the alarm is on. Now to deactivate the alarm, press the upper left button, and as it's seen, it's inscribed as off. Now you can do that for every other alarm on this watch. On, off. So alarm, let's say 4, on, off. Also very key for this watch, by pressing the on or off, you can switch on or off the hourly time signal. I'm gonna leave it at off, and once we've done it, we are going to shuffle to the standard timekeeping mode. The thermometer mode, or taking the temperature reading on this Mudmaster, is done by pressing the lower left button until the subdial, the digital subdial indicates the temp reading. So there it is, and we have a temperature reading on our screen. Now the temperature will appear on the display, indicating the temperature reading is in progress, and the results will appear on the display after about 1 second. So there it is. That's the current let's say room temperature, and it's heating up because I'm pushing I am touching this case back, so the sensor is inside and the temperature is rising. Now after the temperature reading is started, the watch will take readings every 5 seconds for the first 3 minutes, and then every 2 minutes after that. And to restart the reading operation from the beginning, press the lower right button. There it is. The watch will turn to the timekeeping mode automatically if you do not perform any operation for about 1 hour after entering the thermometer mode. Now, the temperatures displayed are in units of Celsius or Fahrenheit, and the range of temperature readings are from -10 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius, or 14 degrees of Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you can change, sorry for that, you can change the temperature reading scale by from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and I will do that in the section. Taking the barometer readings, or the barometric pressure readings, is done by pressing the lower left button until the digital screen displays barrel, and there it is. Now that's the 962, that's the hectopascals, and this is the graph. So after barometric pressure reading operation is started, the watch will take readings every 5 seconds for the first 3 minutes, and then every 2 minutes after that. To restart the operation from the beginning, you would have to press the lower right button, and there it is. If you do nothing or do not perform any operation for about 1 hour, the watch will return to the timekeeping. Barometric pressure is displayed in the units of 1 hectopascals, or the standard American units EIHG. Displayed barometric pressure values from the range of 260 hectopascals to 101,000 hectopascals. Their barometric pressure values will reappear as soon as the measured barometric pressure is within the allowable range. Now these units also can be changed. Right now it's set to hectopascals. Now this is the barometric pressure graph, and the barometric pressure indicates changes in the atmosphere. By monitoring these changes, you can predict the weather with a reasonable accuracy. This watch takes barometric pressure readings automatically every 2 hours. So readings are used to produce barometric pressure graph and barometric pressure differential pointer readings. Barometric pressure differential pointer. Now this pointer indicates the relative difference between the most recent barometric pressure reading indicated on the barometric pressure graph and the current barometric pressure value displayed in the barometer mode. Now to show and hide this barometric pressure differential, you would first have to be in barometer mode, which we are currently in, and whilst in that mode, press the upper left button and watch the second hand. Now the second hand is indicating the barometric pressure differential. Reading this scale or differential pointer, which is the second hand, indicates the pressure differential is indicating the range of plus or minus 10 hectopascal, and a nearby screenshot, for example, I'm gonna move this watch over the side so you can see the screenshot. Shows the second hand would indicate the calculated pressure differential in approximately minus 5 hectopascals. Now the second hand will move over or under in the barometric pressure if the barometric pressure is differential outside the allowable range of the scale. Now the second hand will move to 9 o'clock if a sensor reading could not be taken for some reason, and barometric pressure is calculated and displayed using hectopascals as the standard. Now you can change those units and I will show that in the later segment of the video. Using the altimeter mode. Now this watch takes altitude readings and displays results based on the air pressure measurements taken by built-in pressure sensor. It also saves various types of altitude records and data. Now the displayed altitude reading is a relative altitude, and it's calculated based on the measurements of changes in barometric pressure. And that's done by the watch's internal barometric pressure sensor. Now this means that barometric pressure changes can cause readings taken at different times at the same location to be different. Now selecting the altimeter mode is done by pressing the lower right button, and the LT indicates and the measurement is reading. And another good thing about this watch is this sub functions of the basically every hand and every screen or dot on the dial. Now there are two main differences between taking the measurements, and that is done by looking at the subdial, the digital sub range, or the altitude auto reading interval. In the altimeter mode, you have to pull the crown out, and then I'm going to explain what am I doing. Now I pulled the crown out and unscrewed the crown and pulled one click, and now we are going to press the lower left button and the int shows. Now we have this interval on the subdial. Now this interval means that can change between 2 and 5, 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and this is the now 5 second, that stands for reading at 1 second intervals for the first 3 minutes, and then every 5 seconds for approximately the next hour. And if I rotate the crown to 2, readings at 1 second intervals for the first 3 minutes, and then every 2 minutes for approximately next 12 hours. Now those would be the specifications about how to take the intervals of reading the altitude. Screw the crown back in. The altitude readings. Now we have started the altimeter mode on this watch. The displayed value changes if an altitude reading falls outside the measurement range, and the range is from -700 to 10,000 meters, or -230 to 32,800 feet. Now when you press A above, the second hand may indicate the second may indicate the seconds or the altitude differential. Now the initial second hand function will be the same as the selected as it was what was selected the last time you took an altitude reading. Now to toggle between the two second hand functions, press D button, that's the upper left button, and please take a look at this graph. We'll return it to it later. Now to restart the reading operation from the beginning, press the lower right button. After you're finished, you can return to the timekeeping mode regularly, as I explained it earlier. Now I'm not gonna excuse me. I'm not gonna return to timekeeping mode because I have to make some regards about this graph, and I will make I put the screenshot over here so you can see what I'm trying to say. Now the altitude tendency graph shows changes in altitude over the past 6 readings, while readings are being taken automatically. Now to minimize the chance of reading error, you should update the reference altitude value before setting off a track on any activity where you plan to take altitude readings. Now that's a very complicated operation, and the Casio has a very detailed instructions, and if I would do that, this video would take a very long time. But these sensors come pre-programmed and pre-calibrated. The compass mode on this watch, or to make sure, first to enter the compass mode you have to be in timekeeping mode, and then press the upper right button, which indicates the watch indicates. Now when we press it, the subdial indicated compass, and we have the some readings, let's call it some readings, on the digital subdial. Now to make the compass readings, the watch should be in a horizontal position. Now basic how to operate the compass mode: point the 12 o'clock, that's this position of the watch in the direction whose readings you want to take. Now press C to start, or the C is indicated as the compass mode again. Now we have done that previously, and we are currently in the compass mode. Now we can see this second hand is moving when I'm moving the watch. Now that's the bearing indication of the degrees on bearing angle to objective. Now if my objective is pointed, let's say over here, and we have compass mode stopped because we haven't been using anything. Now this indicates this our objective from north is this northwest by 27 degrees. Now I'm gonna put in the graph so you can basically have this some basic know-how about this bearing indication meaning. Now, as I said previously, the watch will return to the timekeeping mode about 60 seconds after the direction reading, and to restart the operation you have to press the press the C button, that's the upper right button, and we are again at the reading, and to return to the timekeeping mode press B. So currently we are in the timekeeping mode. Now, as I've said previously, this watch has several other functions when it comes to compass mode, but this is the basic function of the compass mode. It has a bidirectional readings, and it would be very complicated, and this video would last very long to explain all that functions. Now, if you want to do those compass options, you can find it in the manual on the watch, and it's just type in 5468 and the manual will reappear. Specifying the altitude, barometric pressure and temperature units. Now, to do that operation, from timekeeping mode, shuffle to the mode you want your units to be changed. Now let's first start, let's say, from Alti, that's the altimeter mode, and whilst in the altimeter mode, as you can see, the readings are taken. Unscrew the crown, pull the crown one click. Now press the lower left button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and M is starting to flash. Now we are meters. Rotate the crown to change it from feet to meters. Now I'm gonna leave it at meters, and if you want to leave it at meters, now push the crown back in, and that's the operation of changing the units for the altimeter reading. Now to change the readings or the units from to the at the barometric or the temperature readings, do the same operation again. So from timekeeping, we'll enter the barometer mode, unscrew the crown, which I previously did, pull the crown once or one click. Now to do next step, press B, but this time once, and the units will flash. Oh, I've entered the barometer mode. I would have to take temperature mode, sorry. I see nothing's happening. There we are at the temperature mode. So press the push the crown back out one click, press it once, and now we have units flashing from the C to the Fahrenheit. Now I'm gonna leave it at the Fahrenheit. Celsius, sorry, stands for C, stands for Celsius, and push the crown back in, and that would be done. Rotate the crown or screw it back in, and that's it.